When 2026 hit, we started talking about 2016, and now we're talking about analog living. Are we living in a blast from the past moment? I don't know. Let's talk about it. Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cozy and Thriving. I'm your host, Michaela, and this is a podcast where we just learn to build a life that we actually want to be present for. And I thought, what better way to build a life that we actually want to be present for than talking about the ways that people are living their lives? And today we're going to be talking about analog living because what is it? Where did it come from? All the things. But before I get into that, I have so many things that I want to talk about that does not have anything to do with analog living. So let's just rapid fire those really quickly. Okay, so number one is that I got a new podcast cover. I finally did a professional shoot and I am so excited about it and so happy about it. It just is so cute. I love it. Shout out to my husband for taking the picture. I am just obsessed. I love it. Second, because I did the podcast cover, I was like, I want to upgrade the podcast all the way. So I decided that I was going to create a podcast studio. And that's kind of what you're seeing right now. It is not done by any means. And I threw up a plant and a curtain that I had to like kind of make it a little bit cute in here. But I still want to soundproof it and make it like more, I don't know, just more cozy feeling and everything because yeah, we're just getting a whole glow up for Cozy and Thriving. She's growing, she's thriving, and I need to catch up with her. So yeah, I think I said so many, but I think, oh no, that was the biggest thing. I'm glad that I didn't forget that. The biggest thing is that Apple Podcasts right now is like making sure that I'm human. So as they are processing stuff and like going through stuff right now, we're still on hold for the subscription for Apple, but it is closer in the process to happening. And once it happens, Apple is just probably going to get a drop of all the episodes that I've already done. At this point, I think it's 3. And if it takes any longer, you might be getting 4 all at once. So just just something for my Apple listeners to think about. I am not forgetting about you. I saw that there is a little community over there growing, so I don't want to neglect it. And yeah, I think that's it for all the things that I wanted to talk about. So I want to get into analog living because we are just going back in time, okay? And I have been talking to my siblings and my husband about this for a while. Like, just there are some things, and even me and my sister in law had a conversation not too long ago that we wanted to start doing things kind of like how we did it in the 90s or the early 2000s, okay? I'm not against technology and I'm not against the phone at all, but I do think that there's ways that we can unplug from it because I think that's the main thing is just people are so tired of their phone being their life. And I 100% get it. But I also, as a content creator, am thankful for it because as my camera over here has died 3 times as I've tried to record this podcast, my phone has come in handy. Okay, that's what we're recording on today. And I don't know, she looks good in here. I like the lighting. I like how everything's looking. So I don't know, we might keep her, but I don't know. Okay, don't quote me on that. So let's just get into it. I want to start by talking about what is analog living and why do we want it. So in I guess the spirits of talking about analog living, I actually wrote everything down on a piece of paper. I think I did this a couple weeks ago with a podcast episode where I just like wrote things down. So like I've been kind of like moving in this direction, but I don't know if this is something that I fully want to commit to. So that's why I'm bringing it to the podcast because I want you guys to also really like look at it and see what is actually going to work for you in your lifestyle and how much you feel like your phone is actually ruining your life. So the definition that I got out of all the hours I spent looking and researching and watching other creators talk about analog living, simply this is the definition that I put together about what analog living is. Analog living is simply being more intentional, our favorite word, with our time and getting out of the brain rot that our phones caused us. That's it. That's all it is with all the things. And I know there's going to be some people that go harder than other people, but for now, this is the definition that I got, okay? So I think a lot of us are just really tired of the constant scroll, and as a content creator, I understand it completely. And if you have been with me or just like have been following along in all the things that I have been doing recently, TikTok, YouTube, all the things, I have like sprinkled in there multiple times that I truly believe that YouTube is the place to be if you want to be not a YouTuber, a content creator, because people are going towards more long form content and being more intentional about what they're watching. So YouTube is very much like a search it up platform and not really just a like let me scroll through multiple 30-minute videos. Like nobody's doing that. We're all searching for something and the algorithm kind of shows us what we've been searching, so we might get stuff like right on our screen. But people are just tired of constantly scrolling and constantly getting this roller coaster of emotions where it's happy and funny one moment and then super sad the next and then happy funny again and then ad for I don't know what's something that like I don't know. I get ads for like Thrive and Hungry Root and all these like food services, and then it goes back to a sad video and then a happy video, and then it's just this roller coaster where you're just like laughing, crying, being like, "Oh my gosh, another ad," like laughing, crying again. And it's just a lot. It's overstimulating. And I feel like that word is used so much, but it is. It really is. Again, in all my research, another thing that I found was that people are realizing that content creation, I'm going to read exactly how I wrote it. Content creation in all forms of media, books, music, podcasts, shows, movies, they're all becoming a repeat of what we already like instead of our creativity being uniquely creative. And what I mean by that is we are starting to take the same storylines and the same way people record things and the same way things look. Everything just starts to look the same. And I actually did a video about editing not too long ago about how you want to edit with your vibe and not just to get people's attention, because I feel like our social media gurus and even just regular content creators have started editing in a way that is over stimulating. Again, sorry about that word, but it is. It's just too much. There's too much clicking, bobbing, all the things. And if you don't know how to create all of those things in a way that actually supports your voice and supports your vibe, like I'm very cozy and soft, and if I just had so much going on, it would just be too much. We have all started looking for that type of edit. We've all started looking for people that edit that way instead of just having like a clean, cozy edit. I'm even starting to see similarities in our phones. Like I know there's this whole like Apple versus Android debate, but if you really look into the phones, I was like at one point considering like switching to a Samsung. I know, it was crazy. But I'm not. Apple girl through and through, promise. I was looking at the similarities and I was looking at the comparisons, and in their like out of the box form, they may look a little bit different, but the internal really honestly looks the same. I even went to the store. Me and my husband went to Best Buy for something, and they have like all the phones out. And so I started messing with the Samsung and I was like, I know how to use this phone. And the reason I know how to use it is because it looks like Apple. Like it looks like the internal looks like Apple. And yes, there might be other similarities. Like don't come for me, okay? I really honestly do not care what phone you have. I don't. I'm not paying for it. It's just everything's starting to look the same. The uniquely creative brains that we used to have are not doing it anymore because people are seeing one thing and saying that's the standard. And I all feel like it comes from social media personally, but that's just me. I'm also noticing that people are like dumbing down their phones, and this does not mean they're getting flip phones. Although I did see some people say like, I'm going to get a BlackBerry or like some other types of phones. I literally couldn't because of my nails. I literally couldn't. People are wanting to do that, but when I say that people are dumbing down their phones, they're like deleting social media off their phones and only using it on their desktop or their iPad. They're getting single-use electronics and so much more, but I want to talk about all of that a little bit later. So I want to talk about a mindset shift first, okay? So I've heard multiple creators say for this analog living movement that there is intentional and passive consumption. So passive consumption is something like you get online for no particular reason, or social media for no particular reason, and you just start scrolling. You don't really know what you want to watch. You're just trying to find some form of entertainment. And sometimes you get what you're looking for, sometimes you don't. So you just keep scrolling until you do. There's no purpose to your scrolling. This can also be like just having the TV on in the background for the sake of having the TV on. I will say I do this more often than not. Let me just put out a disclaimer here. I'm not saying that this is something that I'm fully diving into. I'm just bringing it to you guys. So I'll put the TV on. Like usually it's not like a show I'm watching. It's usually like sports, basketball. That's pretty much it. Football or basketball is usually what I put on and then I'll go do something else. But passive is just like there's no purpose to it. You're just putting it on just to put it on. You're just having it there just to have it there. So people are saying that we need to put away the passive consumption and actually start having intentional consumption, which would be instead of me like trying to cook and watch my show, I cook and then I go sit and I watch my show and I don't do anything else while I'm watching it, which, is how I grew up. Like we would watch TV and when the commercials came on, that's your time to like run to the bathroom and hurry up before the before the movie or the show comes back on. Like that was what we grew up on. So just being intentional about what you're watching, what you're doing, how you're spending your time, all the things that I talk about. That's what analog living to me is like mostly about. The biggest thing is to make that change in your mindset and refocus on your priorities and your hobbies. So I want to get into the fun things and the benefits to this analog living, okay? And then I'll give like all my final thoughts like at the end. But the benefits to the analog living is number one, nostalgia. Now, I don't know if anybody else is like me, but I love reminiscing on my past and not in the like not the bad moments but the fun little things like for Christmas and like being around all my family. I wrote down a lot, so let me let me read it. You can tell that I'm excited about this because I think that it's so fun. All the things that I wrote down for nostalgia, if you can relate, please let me know in the comments. But I said picking a DVD with my siblings to watch a movie for movie night, the scrolling sound of the iPod searching for music, like the tick, 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 tick. I love that sound. Getting a signed CD. I went to a concert for a it was like a Christian group when I was younger. It was called Group One Crew, and me and my brothers really loved them and loved their music. And we went to a concert and we actually missed it because they went early. It was like a festival thing, but they went early because there was supposed to be a storm. So we were like still out there and they were actually doing a meet and greet and we were able to like get a poster signed. I still have that poster to this day. And like we got a picture with them and everything. So that's so fun. Nobody does that anymore, but it's so fun. Looking through printed pictures that you get at CVS, like from the, disposable cameras, taking crazy pictures with your family and friends and picking a CD to play in the car. Or if you had a TV in your car, which I think, they still do now, you would like have this like CD book of like, DVD book of like all your DVDs and even CDs, like music to listen to. It was prime time. Okay, that was prime. So all of those things, me and my husband actually talked. We went to a bookstore not too long ago. Well, actually at this point, it was a long time ago. It was maybe like a year or two ago. We went to this bookstore and it was secondhand books, but they also had records, they had tapes, they had CDs, they had movies, like DVDs, all the things. And I was like, you know what? I want my kids to grow up in the early 2000s because I remember my mom having this entertainment system and she had these drawers and we would pull out the drawers and all of our movies would be in the drawer. And I would just be so excited to get down, like me and my siblings would get down on our knees and like go through the books. Not books, the movies. We would all pick one out and then we would like do eeny, meeny, miny, mo to like see which ones we wanted. And sometimes we were all in agreement on one movie. Those days were easier, but it was just like so fun to like be able to like pick a movie that way instead of like scrolling and then getting distracted because they give you like a little preview when you like land on it for a little bit and too much nowadays. Okay. But I did in my notes, I put a little side note. I put side notes everywhere because I was like, I need to make sure that I remember to say this. I'm not against technology, but we've made our phone everything and everything lives there. So I'm a huge advocate for living life in a fun way. So this is just all doing things in a fun way, not trying to get rid of the phone completely, okay? Just keep that in your mind. Another benefit to analog living would be saving money. So I heard someone say that she didn't like the thought of working for things that we don't own, but it was just kind of crazy to think about because it wasn't in the sense of like you're renting. It was in the sense of your music, your books, your TV shows, your movies, all of it you don't actually own. And even if you were to buy it like on Amazon, like if you bought like the actual movie, and so now you just have it on your Amazon account. But if they decided to take that movie off of Amazon, it goes with it. Same with like iTunes and all the other things. Like if you were to buy a CD or buy something on Apple, if they decided to take that music off of Apple, it's theirs. Like they can take it off even though you bought it. So I was like, wow, that is something crazy to think about and something that I feel like I really want to like reevaluate, especially because specifically for me, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to podcasts more than I listen to music. The most played music that I have is worship music. So that's something like I guess I could like play on YouTube or whatever. But if it's somebody that like I really like and a worship album that I really listen to all the time, I could buy it. And now I'm kind of sad now thinking about it because I remember getting a Jonas Brother album and I have no clue where that is. Like, I have no idea. I had the CD and everything. Where the heck did all that stuff go? I don't know. That's something to think about. I think it kind of like shows that your physical copies are still the best way of getting things and doing things. And yeah, I don't know. The same creator that I saw that said that, she also said that there's a difference between reading books as a hobby and buying books and we could be utilizing our libraries more, which I thought was really cool because even if you are a Kindle reader like me recently, I have only been reading books on my Kindle. There is a Libby app that connects to your like library in your city, and you can rent books and read them on your Kindle or on your phone if you don't have a Kindle. You can most definitely still read digitally if you want to and you don't have time to go to a library or you don't want to go to a library. You can still, get books that way. And I was thinking about that for myself. Like, I think at one point I really wanted a library and maybe one day I still will, but like I don't have the space for as big of a library as I would love to have. It would be fun to do and like fun to collect, but I'm like a person that I don't think that I'll ever read the same book twice because my TBR is so long. So I put my little side note here again at the bottom. It says, I'm not against buying things for supporting your hobbies, but I think it frees us up from feeling like we have to have a full library because our favorite creators do. But if you want it, do it. But it goes for any hobby or anything. Like some people do like coloring and they have like a wall full of markers. And it's like, do you really need that many colors if you're not coloring that much? Is like Crayola okay for you? Or do you have to get the ones that cost $1 million? Like, again, buy what you want and do what you want with your money. It's your money. But I want to free the pressure up for you right now with the thought that you have to have a full library. You have to have a bunch of markers. You have to have all the game systems or you have to have all the games in your collection just because your favorite creators do. It's your hobby and your life. Do what makes you happy. I have an entire Nintendo Switch and I literally play Animal Crossing and Mario Party. That's it. And I played Link's Awakening, the Zelda Link's Awakening once through and I beat the game and I want to play it again, but it was very hard. So I haven't started. But that's 4 games. I pay 4 games. So do I need to buy every single Nintendo Switch game that comes out? Absolutely not. Because I know I won't like all of the games. Those 4 entertain me and I don't play it enough to do that. So I guess you could say that analog living is somewhat minimalist, but then at the same time, if you're wanting to collect certain things, I think that that's a hobby that you could get into. But that's part of my benefit, so I didn't get there yet. So let's keep going. Oh, I just gave like a bunch of things I think I already said. We can buy CDs instead of subscriptions. Again, like for somebody like me that doesn't listen to music like that, we can rent or buy movies. Do you remember when Redbox was a thing or Blockbuster? I think that I was too young to remember Netflix, but apparently Netflix was also like a subscription service where you could like rent a movie and they would send it to you. I don't remember that, but I do remember Blockbuster. That was fun. You can also rent or buy the TV shows as well. I found Friends, which is my favorite TV show of all time, at Best Buy for $54. And right now, Friends is playing on HBO Max for $12.99 a month. So for 4 months, if I were to just put $12.99 aside, it's $54. I could literally just buy it outright. But if I were to take my 4 months worth of HBO Max subscription, I could buy Friends because I literally only have HBO Max to watch Friends. That's it. I could literally buy the entire series for 54 and have it for the rest of my life. Then another benefit is that there's no more endless scrolling because you're doing things off of your phone and you're like starting to buy your stuff. But then I said it gives new hobbies. And what I mean by giving new hobbies is that like when you're out and about and you see a CD that you like or music that you like, you can buy it and add it to a collection. So you start building up your music collection, you start building up your movie collection, and you just own that stuff and you're able to watch it whenever you want to. And I actually had for one, literally I used this for one school semester. I had a portable CD thing because Apple doesn't have the CD thing in your computer anymore, and I had to use it for school. Like for my class, they gave us a CD that was like it had, I don't know, it had all of our stuff on it. That was weird. I don't know why we had that. You can buy one of those and you can put it in your computer, and I'm getting ahead of my notes, but it's okay. I am thinking about getting an iPod. I've been thinking about getting an iPod for the longest time because I just want my music in one place, and I feel like I can just have it there and it's all things that I want to listen to, and nothing is going to pop up that I don't want to listen to, and I won't get distracted getting on my phone, all the things. I've just been thinking about it for a while. You can buy CDs, put them on like the music app on your computer and put them on an iPod. I want to do that so bad. I think I'm going to do it. But the new hobbies would be stuff like collecting movies, collecting CDs, restoring old technology, decorating old technology, getting like a boombox. I feel like that was past my time. I don't even know what it would call. The radio is what we called it. I don't know. I don't know. All those things. Okay. Those are the benefits that I thought about. And now I want to kind of get into what we can do for a more analog life, but still using the technology. Because again, I'm not against the technology of today and of our society. I think that it could be really helpful, but we also are getting tired of like AI taking over the internet and, all the constant like ads and everything. Some things that I thought about that would be like so cool is to have for like a more analog lifestyle, is to have a digital camera. I actually have two. My grandma gave me two of them. She was like, "Hey, do you want this like camera?" And I was like, "Sure, I think that would be fun." So I have a Sony Cybershot, and I think the other one is Kodak. I think it's a Kodak. And that one gives like such nostalgia like pictures. I love that one. But the Sony Cybershot actually does pretty good pictures. I've actually posted some of them and it's like almost like identical with my iPhone. So I think that we can, I don't know, if you're like, I still want the good quality, like there's good quality cameras. They're still selling them. They're still making them. It'll help keep your storage like low. If you have like an older one like I do, it'll give like that nostalgia photo look, and it'll also save your phone battery. So I don't know if those are all benefits to you, but they're benefits to me. Another thing would be to switch to physical planners instead of always digitally planning. And last week on YouTube, I was kind of showing how I plan my month and like how I plan for my life. And what I mostly do is use paper and pen, and I'm not trying to make this pretty. Like I'm not using a bunch of highlighters. I'm not using a bunch of different colored pens, and I'm not decorating it. If that's something that you can do and want to do, again, by all means, do it. But for me, I just need to write something down. So I have planners and things that work for me that I can just write things down. And then I will transfer it to my digital because I think that it's also nice to just kind of like have that backup, and like I do have access to everything on my phone. So if I were to forget my planner or I didn't have it or whatever and I wanted to see, I would have it on my phone, which again is not a bad thing. It's just it's just like not relying so heavily on the phone and not relying so heavily on everything being there because your brain just goes all over the place. You can also switch to physical notebooks and planners like I did right here for today. I don't know if I will always do this because it literally took me forever to write down, and I was just like, you know what? Does it really matter if they can see my notes on the paper or if I'm reading it off my laptop? I don't think so. So you can have physical notebook and journal. I think that this is good for journaling specifically, especially because there are so many amazing journals out there that are guided. You can find some that like are exactly what you need for journaling. It doesn't always have to be this like I have to fill up 5 pages every single time I journal. It also doesn't have to be that you're only journaling about negative things that are happening in your life and just like trying to get your feelings out. It can also be about the happy moments too. Another thing that you can do for like analog living is actually finding things that you're interested in and researching them. So this is something that I think does require more digital technology, but it's that intentional consumption because you're finding things that you are wanting to look at. So I have recently gotten into basketball, NBA, and I think that I'm gonna try to get into the WNBA as well, but it's a shorter season and it's a lot of people to like try to pay attention to. So I might start with the NBA for now and just see what happens. But I've been like watching games. I downloaded the app for NBA and the team that I'm following. I am looking at podcasts of people that are talking about sports. I'm learning the game. I'm learning, what the tea is behind all the players, all the things. And it really does help that my husband is also into basketball because he can help me like kind of navigate things. Cause I'm like, why the heck did they just do that? And why is he flailing on the ground? And why is he doing this? And why is he whining? Like it's like all these things that I just like am like I can ask him, but I can also just research it myself and like have intentionality when going to my phone and when going to the internet. You can do that with like anything, any hobby. It doesn't have to be a sport. It could be photography or coloring or paint, or you want to learn how to fix a car. Like, I don't know. You can just research on those things. Another one is single use electronics. So, this kind of goes into using a digital camera, but I also mentioned me wanting to get an iPod at some point. So, just having those single use electronics will help you keep off your phone, not in like a bad way, but it's not like you're getting a bunch of notifications. It's actually funny. In my YouTube video, when I was talking about planning, I took my planner and I was like, you're not getting a million notifications on this while you're planning. It was just like kind of helping keep your mind clear while you're doing one thing versus you're trying to plan something out and then you get a text and you get distracted by the text. So I don't know if that's just me. But I think the single use electronics would be really cool to use and have. So I want to give my final thoughts because I do feel like this is one of my longer episodes. I have been talking for almost an hour, probably more because my camera kept dying. So we have probably been talking for a long time. But this is really interesting to me because of how nostalgic I am and how I like Friends is my favorite show. Like it's so cozy and I like to be cozy and I like the fact that we can have these single use electronics still. And I think that if a lot of us and enough of us continue to go back into that, like the people that make these things will continue to make newer versions and make it easier for us to use them. I think analog living is a cool concept and something to think about for your life. It does not have to be completely like I'm getting a flip phone, I'm completely off social media. One of the things that I was researching as I do for content, and just like looking up people that are getting off their phones. There was somebody who said 1,000 days without social media. Like there's just people that are really starting to just get tired of what we have been used to and what we have been kind of accustoming. accustomed to with social media. People are just kind of getting like tired and they don't want it anymore. And as somebody who is in the middle where I'm like, I'm not attached to social media, like if it were to go away tomorrow, I would be a little bit sad because I've built a career around it, but I wouldn't be so sad because I also remember a time without social media and I remember just having fun. Like I remember having a fun life and just having a phone that you could text and call on was enough entertainment because we were outside. We were outside. I was talking to my mother-in-law the other day and I was like, I'm trying to get people to go outside. I'm like really trying to have people to go outside because we are getting so used to everything just being brought to our doorstep and like Black Friday, I'm sorry. I love Black Friday. I remember waking up early to go to Target to buy a phone. It was my very first phone. I bought it myself because it was on sale. I think it was originally $80 and it was on sale for $40 and I had like $100. So I was able to get a phone and get my minutes because it was one of those prepaid phones my mom took me and I had a good time. And then a couple years ago, my sister came during Black Friday and me and her went to the mall and we were both like, I love this. And there was these moms that had hats. They were all wore matching hats that said um Santa like we're Santa's helpers or something. It was so cute. Like I was like, people just need to get outside more because we're getting way too used to being in the house and having everything brought to our doorstep and everything being like, we'll just pay for it so we can watch it here instead of going to the movies or going to a premiere or whatever. Like I need us to have some more fun. Okay, and go back to the times where we were just having fun outside. Says the homebody. Says the homebody. But anyways, y'all, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Don't forget that Apple subscriptions are coming very, very soon. It'll be, hopefully I can get it the same price. I think I can. It'll be $2.99 a month for 2 extra episodes. $2.99 for 2 extra episodes a month. So we can just chat a little bit more about all things cozy. And let me know if this is something that you think that you would be doing like going forward. Like, are you going to be a part of this like analog movement or are you fine with the digital age that we're in or whatever? Like, let me know your thoughts down below. And with all that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.